Good morning, good morning. I'm here live doing a pet visit this morning. After this pet visit, I got to go see my mom back at the hospital. She just had a surgery. So I'll be spending the day at the hospital again. I was there the whole day yesterday. So while I'm here during this pet visit, because this is a long pet visit that I have, um, I thought I would take the time to have a little chat. Well, a solo chat, I guess, about just things that are on my mind, things that I've been observing. I know a lot of you think maybe I've been gone for a while. I do try to keep myself up to date on what's going around on YouTube. Um, certain people will always be on my radar because they got themselves on my radar, whether that be on my positive radar list or my negative radar list. I'm sure everybody has one of their own, right? So, I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that need to be said and clarified, especially since, I noticed my name brought up once again by a certain person. Um, I really dislike naming people in my videos or my titles. But sometimes they gotta be addressed. And sometimes my subscribers know who I'm talking about. Sometimes they don't. I'm gonna say most of my subscribers know the people that I'm talking about because they've been in the same circles. So let me tell you a bit about most of my subscribers and the origins of my channel. So when I first came onto YouTube, and I've said this before, I was inspired by MGTOW, men going their own way. The reason I was inspired was because I noticed that we had a lot of similar views, particularly on abortion. So for me, I initially thought to myself, it'd be great if I could somehow align myself with this group because they seem to be pro-life, the majority of them, and I think they would be a good ally for the pro-life movement. They could be help in defeating all these people that want to continue the Holocaust of unborn babies, millions and millions of them dying around the world and here in the US. So I thought they would be of great help with that, because I like to associate myself with people who think alike, people of the same mindset, because I think working together with like-minded people, it intensifies your purpose. It intensifies the effort that you put. So I think working together, you could be a greater and better force for good. So one of the main reasons why I initially wanted to align myself with MGTOW, which is why originally in my original username, my channel, I had put in WGTOW, women going their own way. That was going to be the original channel name. Yes, inspired by MGTOW. But it was because I thought that we were aligned on many things. One regarding celibacy. So when I heard about MGTOW monks, I thought to myself that it was a group of celibate men. And then when I heard that a lot of them happened to be pro-life, I saw it in the comments because I would often discuss it, in the comment section or in the chats. So, I like to align myself with other pro-life people because I think the greatest victim in today's society, believe it or not, and people do not pay attention to it that much, is the child that's in the womb, the human that's sitting in the womb right now. There's millions of babies right now. They're alive. They're not aware of the danger that's awaiting them at an abortion clinic. They have no clue that they're about to be murdered brutally, savagely by a doctor. I don't even like calling them doctors. I call those murderers in white suits. I very much dislike most doctors, but that's just me. I'm anti conventional medicine. I'm pretty much anti the most what most of the world is for. Pretty much, you could describe me like that. So I'm pretty sure the government might not really see me with a positive view. They probably don't view me in a positive way. And it's no wonder that, the government likes to label people who are right wing, people who have morals, people who don't believe that the government needs to be controlling your every step. It's no wonder that they consider anybody who thinks differently as an enemy, right? Because why would you label pro-life people and Christians? You call them extremists. What's extreme? What is extreme? Is it our views that are extreme? You call love and compassion extreme? Is that what it is? So hate is accepted, right? Oh, but not if it's hatred for evil things that go on in this world. You're only allowed to hate morality. You're only allowed to hate actual decency, actual morals, right? And if it's only done by the left. But anything that's good, anything that's truly compassionate, any good morals that you're allowed to hate, and that's not evil. So that's why I personally do believe that the government, because, a long time ago, Facebook, right? Long time ago, I used to post a lot about these things on Facebook. I really don't hang on Facebook much anymore, especially since, I recently got married. So, but I know the government has been on to me for a while. I've actually caught, I don't know, I don't know if I want to call them government agents. I've actually caught them spying on me before, and it's not one of these things that I'm making up. I literally, one time, I was at a Starbucks with my daughters, literally saw this man taking pictures of me and my daughters from outside the Starbucks. My daughters pointed it out to me. They came up to me because I was standing in the Starbucks line while I was getting them something. And they came up to me and said, "Mommy, there's this guy that's taking pictures of us through the window." And I went and I looked and I saw the guy. As soon as I went, he ran away. And I was going to go outside to confront him. And as soon as I went outside, he got in his car and he took off. And, I've caught him following me around the supermarket before. So there are ways. You sometimes don't realize that the government can keep surveillance on you. Not to mention, because I remember back some time ago, it was on Facebook. They had my page deleted. It was on animal rights. There was a group of hunters and that it claimed that I was trying to raise up an animal rights militia against them, and they reported me to the FBI. So I think that's also one of the things that have made me get on that list. So I really do believe that I've been possibly in surveillance for years, on and off. I do believe that they are on YouTube. And I do believe that MGTOW is under surveillance as well. So you're not the only ones that are under surveillance. But I think they're doing it on the down low this time. Sometimes it could be obvious. Sometimes they're more careful and they don't want to make it that obvious, right? Because they don't want you to be aware that they're surveilling you, that they're observing you. I think anybody that's involved in government surveillance against innocent people, at least that you you probably suspect that they really haven't done anything wrong, I think you should question your line of duty. I think you should question the job that you do and whether it's really worth for you to be making money off of going after innocent people, off people who have decent values, you know? You should probably consider thinking switching jobs if you consider yourself a good person and you don't want to be involved in shady things that have to do with the government. Why do you want to be involved in persecuting innocent people? No, I'm not complaining. Um, you know, I've had a pretty peaceful life, you know, over the past years, and it's not that they've done anything to me. Um, I mean, I'm at peace, but I wonder if people who work in that kind of job are at peace with themselves. And I'm sure there are very dark things in this world that FBI and CIA really do deal with. And I really think they should focus on those things. One of those things I think needs to be what's going on at the abortion clinics with the babies that are brutally murdered in there. You need to investigate that. You need to investigate the so called doctors that work in those clinics, the nurses that work there, and consider doing something to change the current laws regarding abortion. A lot of people, a lot of leftists and feminists are worried that Trump is going to put a ban on abortion. One of the things that I disagree with on Trump is that he's actually more leaning towards abortion, even though most of these people in politics, even on the right, you know, a lot of them, they'll say that they're against abortion, but then when it gets to the moment of truth, they don't really do much. They'll say they're against it, but then they don't really do much. At least he did appoint good Supreme Court justices that helped out with that. I do give him credit for that. But that's because people on the right were pressuring, they were pushing for that. So, me, I am one of the ones that does believe that abortion has to be abolished for good. Yes, I personally do think that it's got to be banned. I'm one of those people. So, with that said, let me get back to what I was saying. You know, I'm really, as an INTJ, I'm one of those people that really has to take notes to keep my thoughts organized because my mind's all over the place. By the time I'm finishing one sentence, I'm already thinking about like three other topics in my mind and what I'm going to say because it's just on my mind. So, yeah, I should definitely keep notes to keep everything organized and on topic, but I rarely do that. So, sometimes I forget things to say. I bet it happens to everybody, and it's not like I have a lot of time either. So, yeah, I try to keep my videos short. I try to say the most that I can in the least amount of time possible. So, let me check on this doggy over here. What's going on? This is not my dog. This is a client's dog. What's going on, Ellie? What you doing? Are you looking for lizards? Huh? Huh. Okay, so as I was saying, so I was inspired by Nicton, and I bet you anything that it probably did get me back on the government's watch list because, right, they're going to be surveilling anybody that has anything to do with MGTOW. And I used to have women going their own way as the name of my channel, and I used to mention MGTOW and what I thought it was about, and you know, I would make good videos about them. Those are the first videos. You probably see them on my channel. I don't remember if I have them set to private or not. I'm pretty sure I took it off private. I'm pretty sure I left it public. But there was one point where I did private most of my videos for a time because people keep messing with the channel. So, what's going on, Ellie? I hear you making a lot of noise over there. What you doing? Hmm? You think there's some lizards in there? Ah, that's probably it. Looks like it's gonna rain too. It's been awfully humid here in Florida, but today is a pretty fresh morning. Probably, probably because it rained last night. So, I got maybe about 10, 15 minutes to say what I'm gonna say. So, like I was saying, I was inspired by MGTOW. Yeah, there's people who noticed that I used to have that name. The WGTOW does stand for Women Going Their Own Way. Now, what I was doing was I did want to try to create a group of women going their own way, particularly celibate women who are pro life and who aligned themselves with the same views that I had, but that was extremely hard to find. I did not find anybody, actually. I couldn't find anyone. And then, as soon as MGTOW men started realizing that I was on YouTube, I kind of got myself on their radar in a negative way because, as you know, as soon as they see any woman mention MGTOW, they go over to the channel. They start, negative. They start leaving negative reviews or negative comments. They start disliking it. So as soon as I brought up the channel, I started getting a whole bunch of negative stuff. So it was really bad for the algorithm. I was never really able to grow the channel. I remember initially, it was really hard just to get to 50 subscribers. And when I finally got to 50, I was satisfied. I was like, okay, well, at least I got to 50 people who are probably going to be willing to listen to what I have to say. And I was actually satisfied at 50. Then from there, it grew a little bit more. As you noticed, I don't really promote my channel. And so, so then a couple years ago, right, I was in one of the live chats on a MGTOW channel. Actually, I'm not sure if it was a MGTOW channel. I think his name was Chris Mitchell, but there were other people from MGTOW in there because I would often go in there, comment in the live chats, or I leave comments in the videos. So those are basically the people that I was interacting with because, like I said, I try to align myself with people who have the same views. So back then, initially, I thought MGTOW was a celibate group of monks. I thought they were monks, that they had these good morals, that they were all pro-life. Later on, I found out that no, there was actually these MGTOW guys that they went around sleeping around and they just didn't believe in commitment, right? Because there's that type of guy too. There's men out there who they consider themselves bachelors and they just simply do not want any sort of commitment with any woman. They're womanizers. They're the kind of guys that just want to sleep around. So there are men like that who call themselves MGTOW. But in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, oh, MGTOW is a guy that's, they're monks. They don't sleep around, right? Because they don't have to deal with women, right? Because their principles are, you don't cohabitate with women, you don't have children with women. So I'm thinking to myself, well, obviously, then they can't be having sex with women because if you have sex with a woman, then you're risking procreating and having children. And then if you do that, you're most likely going to end up married, right? Or at least living with the woman because you have to take care of your child. So I'm thinking to myself that that's what a MGTOW is. So they're going to choose to be monk, right? They're in monk mode. That's what I'm thinking to myself. So since I was celibate, I had been celibate for many years. I was like, okay, I found a group, even if they're men, I found a group that actually, thinks like me and they're pro-life. So I thought perfect. And I'm not gonna lie, I remember initially I thought to myself, oh, I bet I could probably meet somebody that's like-minded. Maybe, even end up marry somebody that's just like me. Of course, later on, as soon as I realized that MGTOW was not, they were, they're intentionally trying to stay away from women. As soon as I realized that, and their whole thing was strictly not getting married, I realized very quickly early on that, yeah, that's not going to work. But I continued interacting with them because we still had pretty much most of the same beliefs. So, with that said, of course, and I'll tell women, if you're a woman that wants to get married, you should not be trying to look for a MGTOW guy because, like they said, they strictly are not planning to get married. So if you're a woman and you're hanging around MGTOW guys, don't ever get your expectations up. Do not waste your time thinking to yourself, I'm going to change this person. I'm going to get them to get out of the MGTOW movement. That's not going to happen because that's already what they have set in their mind. Okay? It's kind of like when a nun chooses to become a nun and she finally makes that decision and then she goes over to, some sort of seminary, Catholic seminary, and she's planning to live there for life. It's kind of like that. So once people make up their mind like that, it's really hard to change a person's mind, and you shouldn't even try to change their mind. For them, it's probably the best choice to stay that way. They've developed these boundaries that they set up around themselves with good reason to protect themselves. And I was like that too. That's one of the reasons that I had chosen to be celibate for many years, because for me, I saw celibacy as a personal protection for myself, physically, spiritually, mentally. And I'm not even going to say that it's easy, right? Because the average amount of time, that a human should be celibate, in a healthy manner that's good for you sexually, I would say 2 to 3 years is a healthy amount of time. And that's usually the maximum that most humans are willing to go up to. I would say 2 to 3 years. So anything above that, you've got to be extraordinarily disciplined, sexually disciplined. If you have a normal sex drive or if you have a high sex drive, to be able to stay celibate beyond the point of 2 to 3 years. Basically, you have to be living your life with a great purpose for you to actually go past that 2, 3 year period, right? And, I made the decision long time ago. I finally did end up getting married, right? But I was celibate for a very long time. That is what I would talk to other people about because it is a good thing. Now, I'll agree it's not good if it's past 2 to 3 years. Past 2 to 3 years, you're going to be struggling with temptations. If you start dating, if you're not dating, if you stay away completely from dating, it's not going to be much of a struggle. But if there's one particular person that you like a lot and you start dating them, yes, you're going to struggle. You're going to be, probably fantasizing about it. And then you're going to start probably feeling sexually frustrated, right? So, and you could end up in a relationship with the wrong person too, right? So it's best to avoid, if you're planning to stay celibate for a long time, and I think most people don't plan to, right? Or at least you get married, and you normally think to yourself, well, within 2 to 3 years, I should be married, right? That's what I thought. But no, for me, it extended up to like 7.5 years, almost 8 years. It took for me to find somebody that I was willing to leave my celibacy for and get married. So it took that long. So It's not easy. You know, the struggle is real. And you have to live your life with a purpose. When you have no purpose, you're going to fall for anything. You're going to do anything. You're just going to go with the flow. And people will take advantage of you if you have no purpose in your life. So back then, when I was celibate and the struggle was hard, the reason I was able to stay celibate for such a long time was because I was doing that with a purpose. There was a purpose behind it. And that's why I say it's very important for you to have a purpose in life. When you live your life without having a purpose, without having a specific meaning behind the actions that you take, the decisions that you make in life, you're going to have people, you're going to have this world take advantage of you. They're going to manipulate you. This world will manipulate you and make you do whatever it wants because you're standing for nothing. If you stand for nothing, like they say, you will fall for everything. So, find your purpose. I think a lot of men find purpose in MGTOW. Men going their own way. I think that it gives them the opportunity to find themselves, get back to focusing on their own lives, discover their own passion, work on self-improvement. That's what I've always thought. It gives you the chance to be celibate. I personally, one of those people that I think the guys who call themselves MGTOW but they're sleeping around, I don't know, I find it hard to consider them MGTOW because, as I've said it before, if you're not going to have children, right, which is one of the principles of MGTOW, is that no children, no cohabitation, no marriage. Now, a child with a woman, that's a bond for life. Basically, a marital bond. That's the natural biological marital union between a man and a woman is a child because that lasts for life. A child's going to be around 18 years. Even when they're older and they're 18 years old, you might still have to deal with the other parent because of other events in their life, maybe graduation, maybe they get married, birthday parties, grandkids. That other person is somehow going to be in your life for life, unless, of course, they pass away, right? So you got to be careful. You can't be sleeping around and claiming you're MGTOW and you want no children because sex is what leads to children. Sex is what leads to procreation and a natural marital union for life, whether you want to call it marriage or not. It's still going to be at abortion clinics because a man and a woman decided to have sex, right? They weren't thinking of the consequences, and now they brought a child into this life. Just because it's in the woman doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The child's still living, it's a human. And you're going to take its life, if you're going to commit murder, death, you're going to cause the death of an innocent human being. Not even a human being that's guilty, but one that's innocent. Anyway, I really have to go now. I know I meant to say a lot more. I'm not done yet. Maybe on my next pet visit tomorrow, later, I'll finish saying what I'm going to say. But right now, I have to get going. So, you all have a good morning.